We're going to hear her remarkable story. She is a kidney donor recipient that actually just received a kidney over the last week. So we're excited about her today. We're excited about her being on our show to tell her story. So Wanza Sanders, thank you so much for coming on What's Your Story. So if you will, just go ahead and just give us a little background information on yourself.
My name is Wanza Sanders. I've been on the donor list for 3.5 years.
Okay.
I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't have to do dialysis. I'm married to Tommy Sanders, and I have 3 children and a dog named Cody.
Okay, and a dog named Cody. All right. Well, you've been on the donor list for 3.5 years.
Yes.
Would you just go ahead and just let our viewers know what type of procedure you had to follow in order to be on a donor's list?
In order to be eligible for the donor list, you can't have any other conditions going on, major conditions like cancer, HIV, or sometimes they'll even want you to have diabetes, because they're in the process of giving you a kidney and you got other issues going on. It sort of defeats the purpose. So that being said, I went through a regime of tests, a battery of tests throughout the number of years that I was on the donor list. One of the requirements is that you have to do your pap smears annually, keep check on that, and go on a rigid eating schedule. Some things that you just need to take out of your diet so it won't progress the damage to the kidney that's already been done. And so that being said, I went through a lot of tests. I did monthly labs every month, so they'll see the progress of my kidney, what it was doing, any other things I needed to change to keep my creatinine level where my kidney was still functioning. Most people kidney function at 100%.
Okay.
Mine had got down to 12%.
12%.
Yeah, and once it gets to, my doctor's advice is once it gets to like 10 and 5%, then they recommend you go on dialysis. Good part is that they recommended me going dialysis much earlier than now.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew who I served, told God I didn't want it, and I was just the fortunate one that I have not ever received dialysis.
Okay.
The good part is that it was there for me if I needed it. I just figured, I told the Lord I didn't want it, and I didn't have to get it.
Okay. Now, what type of research did you do as an individual to confirm what the doctors had already told you?
To just confirm, when people tell you something is wrong with you, your first diagnosis is that I need a second opinion. And so that's what I did. In fact, I got a third and a fourth opinion. And in one while, I even just accepted the fact that they just didn't know what they were talking about.
Okay.
And until I was hospitalized. And then it says, we're not guessing anymore. We're confirming that your kidneys are bad and you have end-stage renal failure. And at that time, when I found out, I was at 4%.
At 4%.
And it was 5 levels. I was at level 4.
Wow. Okay. That's real interesting, and like you said, you done a lot of research yourself, even though you had the opinion of your doctors, and it's like you were saying, it's a miracle that you didn't have to go on dialysis until you received your organ donor, your transplant. Is amazing within itself.
It is.
Now, if you will, just go ahead and just let our viewers know, at the time you received your information from the doctors that you was a kidney recipient and that you had to go on the donors list, how did that affect you mentally and emotionally?
Mentally, it was draining because I had to stay at Piedmont for like 2 days to do 2 days worth of testing.
Okay.
And the sad part is that after you do all that testing, 2 years later, you still didn't have a donor.
Okay.
They would just tell you that you're still actively, they're still actively looking for you a donor for your kidney. They give you the prognosis as how successful kidney rates are. It's unlike any other surgery. If you don't do well, say Piedmont don't do well doing kidney transplants, they can't do them anymore. It ain't like, well, you get a bad heart and you make a mistake, then you get a chance to do it over. You have to maintain a 90% success rate
Okay.
in order to continue to do kidney transplants, and that's what Piedmont is now.
Okay.
They explain to you that their kidney success, they explain to you your donors and how successful getting a kidney is, the regime you have to go through, and even after you get the kidney, the stuff that you have to do to maintain that kidney.
Okay. All right. So once you was at a point, you found out that this had to be done. Now you said you had got to the point where your kidney was only functioning at like 4%. At that point, did they stress dialysis, or if they told you didn't go on dialysis? What was the effect if you didn't go on dialysis?
The effect of, my doctor told me, she said, it's not if I go on dialysis.
Okay.
She said, Wanza, it's when you go on
When
dialysis.
you go on dialysis.
And I was just telling her I didn't want to go on dialysis. And she said, at this point, we understand that you don't want to, but what it is a stent that we can put in your arm just in case you wake up one day and your kidneys have completely stopped functioning. This stent that they put in your arm will allow you to receive dialysis. And I told her I didn't want that either.
Okay.
So I wasn't being defiant with my doctor. I just
Right.
felt like I've been raised in church all my life, and if I don't have my faith to stand on, I don't have anything. And my faith tells me that the doctors give, God give doctors knowledge. You have to educate yourself as well. That being said, whenever I got my labs back, I went on the line and see what the labs meant. I didn't just say, okay, my creatinine level is 3, or my creatinine level is 4. I found out what the levels mean, what I can do to better them, what I can do, what foods I can stay away from. In addition to that, I spoke with other people that had been through the same thing that I was through. In addition to that, I watched my mother and 2 aunties on dialysis.
Okay.
And while dialysis is a lifesaver for others,
Right.
it just didn't fit my schedule.
Okay. And I can understand about what you're saying about dialysis. My mother was actually on dialysis probably about 17 years. So that is a miracle within itself to allow people an opportunity for them to still maintain their life, even though they have to go through dialysis 3 days a week.
Exactly.
But you said that your faith was in the Lord, and it's something that you chose not to do. And I'm sure that as we see that God have honored your faith. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go to our commercial break. And when we come back, we will continue our story with Wanza Sanders right after this.